Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we're going to talk about you as a Dungeon Master making sure that you are doing the right thing when it comes to making your story timely. Okay. All right. So one of the things. So let's talk about this. All right. So basically, I want to talk about two shows that had the wrong timing. The wrong timing for their stories. So Dungeons Dragons, and you need to make sure that you fix this as a Dungeons Dragons 5th Edition Dungeon Master. All right, let's jump into this. All right, so there are two shows recently that came out with absolutely horrifically bad timing for the show, for the content that was in their show. First, the first show is Why the Last Man. Okay, this was a television show, came out last year. It got one season. I watched it cover to cover. I love this show. It was my number one gold content in the fall of 2021. And this thing got a swift kick in the teeth cancel, right? Like, people were like, nope, do not want, right? The next one was Wheel of Time, okay? A lot of people rejected this, would not give it the time of day, really didn't want Wheel of Time. Both of these stories had the same timing problem. What's the timing problem? Men down, women up. Okay? All right, so why the last man? Literally the entire concept of the show is let's kill off every man in the world except one, right? And then women rule, right? In an apocalypse, right? And then Wheel of Time is the same thing. Super dope magic! Woo! Aes Sedai, they got this super dope magic. They can cast lots of spells. They're all women. If men try to cast spells, if men try to be cool with magic, they go crazy, right? And they can't handle it, and they do evil things. And women are sent to depower them, gentle them, and make sure that they cannot do what women do, right? Now, both of these are very interesting concepts, right? But you know when you can't tell these stories? When men are sliding into the apocalypse right now, quite literally, and are having outrageously difficult times doing the things they need to do and continuing to live as the gender they are, right? Right now, the whole world is like, oh my gosh. Men are sliding into an abyss, and women are ascending to the heights everywhere, right? All over. You can read it in the New York Times, you can read it in WAPO, you can read it in any major news source has had tons and tons and tons of articles saying men as a gender are struggling. There was a woman who worked for Slate who wrote a book called The End of Men, and that was like 5 years ago. And she's like, men are checking out. They cannot handle starting or graduating from college. Women are crushing it in college. Women are making more and more. Men are making less and less. Men are on a downward slope. Women are on an upward slope, right? So if the reality that you want to discuss is happening, and then you start discussing it in fiction, right? There are literally millions of women who are like, I would like a male companion who is equal to me. Can't find them. They don't exist. They're all playing Fortnite, right? Like, and basically an entire generation of men are essentially checking out, turning on their PlayStation 4s, and their highest achievements are platinums sitting on PS4s and PS5s, right? That's the reality, right? So when you come and you have an idea for a story, one, don't sit on it, right? Don't put it in a notebook and let it sit for 5-10 years, right? Because the people who are like the Aes Sedai story in Wheel of Time, that's rough, man. Like, you want to tell a fictional story about men sucking and women are like men are descending and women are ascending. Men suck, women rule, right? Like, and you're doing this at a time where women are like, oh my gosh, there are no actual mates, like male mates, who do anything but play video games, right? And like, I am super accomplished and super intelligent and I'm becoming super rich, and I have no men to pick from because all their achievements are literally virtual and sitting on consoles and play and personal computers, right? Like, It is a very real problem, right? And nobody wants to discuss it from a fictional perspective, right? So the lesson to you as a dungeon master is you need to be very careful, right? Write your story, right? And you need to get that thing out within 3 to 6 months. Ain't nobody got time for you to be, scrawling away in a notebook for 5 years, and then you trot that stuff out, and you find that the culture is not ready for the story you want to tell because it's too close to home, too close to truth. You want to have a fictional conversation about a real problem, right? Like that is, people, they don't have patience for all that, right? So you as a dungeon master have to be very, very, very careful to not let your stuff grow stale. I'm going to give you a little hint here. I used to keep videos like queued up. Now, man, I cut a video, I drop it as quick as I can possibly drop it, right? And the reason why is this world does not let stuff grow stale. Like this world demands fresh, right? So my lesson to you right now is do not scroll on a notebook for more than 6 months. Get that story out, right? Now, what do you do if you're a dungeon master and you can't get your stories out, right? Well, one, keep listening to me and make sure that you're getting the right players and you get things set. But the reality is sometimes you got to cut that thing into a story and get it out through a different medium, right? So if you're running a game and it goes on for a long time, but then you have ideas in your head and you scroll them down, right? Don't wait to push them out through the tabletop role-playing game medium, especially if you only have 1 or 2 channels on 1 or 2 games. Get that stuff out as a short story. Get that stuff and get that stuff out as a short story. And if people respond to the short story, get it out as a novel, right? And so do not let content grow stale. It is very important that you keep your content fresh. Do learn from the lessons of Why the Masked Land, which got a swift kick in the teeth cancellation, right? And make sure you learn from Wheel of Time too, in that sometimes, like this world changes too quickly, and you just cannot allow your stuff to grow old and grow stagnant. So you want to keep it fresh, and you want to get your ideas and your content down quickly, right? And that also might mean you need to just be writing less, right? And spending your time on other concepts, whether it be writing your own tabletop role-playing games or anything like that, but don't let your stuff get stale. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.